chains and fetters that bound I. Where you lion, I arise. I arise. I arise. The same that was been before. From my African spirits, looking over high. From my African spirits, guide and protect I. From my African spirits, please, my African spirits, take your guide and protect I. Take your protect I. Out of the bones of I and I forefathers, I and I arise. I arise. I arise. Out of the chains and fetters that bound I. Where you lion, I arise. I and I arise. I arise. The same that was been before, and you can say that shall be regained. That shall be regained again and again. My African spirits looking over.
All right, Dominica.
African spirits.
Those of you in the region, yes, good evening and greetings and welcome. What about those of you further afield in the international arena? Pleasant good day to you as well. Whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods, special greetings and welcome to that all-important program called Civic Vibes. That program is aired each and every Sunday from 6 o'clock in the Commonwealth of Dominica, where we touch on a number of issues, the trending ones, the hot topics, as it were. And yes, whatever is being talked about, we try our very best as Civic Vibes to get the professionals in to have their take as it pertains to the conversation / topic at hand. So this evening is no different. We have heard many a times, and I'm talking about our programs in Dominica, the CBI programs. And yes, those programs in our region called the passport programs. These programs have came under a number of scrutiny. And so yes, it was just a matter of time based on what we have been hearing. So this evening, we're going to have a very candid conversation with no stranger to Civic Vibes, brother Philip Martinez. He was here once, I believe, yes, once, and basically delivered eloquently, and yes, he is back. And yes, he for sure, he warned and warned and warned. Did we listen? Basically, the hammer is about to drop anytime soon. And so here's Mr. Martinez once more, coming to tell us some more about just what he knows about the hammer that is about to drop in terms of our passport programs in the region. But before we go to talk to Mr. Martinez, our guest for this evening, let me turn my attention to none other than Brother Alvin Thomas. Good evening to you, sir, and how are you?
Yes, Lofty, good evening, good afternoon, good evening to you and all of the Dominican folks who have already tuned in to the program. Yes, we have a very interesting program this afternoon. It's all about our passports. Sometimes I suppose folks folks are not happy when we have that conversation, but I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. Passports belongs to the Dominican people, and I think anything that belongs to the Dominican people and we see it's going in a strange direction, then we have to have a conversation. So I just want to say to all of the folks who have already logged in, a pleasant good afternoon, wherever you may be. Pleasant good afternoon to all those in Dominica. Those who celebrating anything special, we say congratulations and special good afternoon to you. And those who may be mourning a loss, we say we extend our condolences wherever that may be. I just want to say a shout out to Emily Namsel, Emo News. I think over the last day or two, if I'm not mistaken, she opened her studio down in the village, I believe, of Calabishi. And just want to say congratulations to her on behalf of Civic Vibes. That's in
the village of Thibault. That's where she's from. Thibault.
Just want to say a special congratulations on behalf of Civic Vibes to Emo News. That's a young lady that has come a long way. An entrepreneur who saw an opportunity, who saw a need, filled that need, and the rest is history. So to Emo News and her staff, congratulations on your bold move of setting up and opening the Emo News studio. Yesterday too, I think you had a group of young men. I think they call themselves Boys to Men or something to that. They had a very interesting symposium held at the UWI Global School. Very interesting. They were looking at young men and the state of mental health as it affects young men. So just want to say to them, congratulations as well on the work that you're doing. It was a well-presented forum symposium. So just want to say hats off to the young men in Dominica on that. So yeah, let's sit back and listen to an engaging conversation, I will say, with Mr. Philip Martinez as we explore and discuss the state of our CBI program, and in particular, our passport as it's tied in with that.
All right, Alvin, thank you very much, my brother, for your opening remarks here, opening salvo, as it were. Always appreciative each and every time. We have, folks, for those of you just tuning in at this time, it is 10 minutes past the hour, 6 o'clock, not just in Dominica, but in the region. And so, yes, we appreciate your company each and every Sunday from just about that time. Folks, this evening, we're going to have this special discussion with none other than a man, Philip Martinez. When we open up his mic, as it were, he will just tell us a brief as to just who Mr. Philip Martinez is before he gets into the gist of the discussion right here indeed. I think it is second outing here with us. The first outing was very, very tremendous. And so we're expecting none different here this evening in terms of his deliveries, especially a man who has been talking, warning, giving us the necessary warnings, not just in Dominica, but in the region as well. We know how his hard work as to trying to put our programs in a certain manner, especially with transparency, due diligence, and all what goes with our passport programs in the region. Well, we're going to hear much more from him in just a while, but before we sort of get into the meat of things, Brother Martinez, special good afternoon to you on behalf of Civic Vibes team and the many, many folks listening, not just in Dominica, but the wider world as far how the social media platform pushes us. So special good evening to you, my brother, and welcome again.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me.
Yes, thank you very, very much indeed. Thank you very much. You were here the last time, generated a lot of discussions, and so we brought you back this time around to sort of continue on that all-important conversation with us, my brother. So again, we want to thank you for taking time off. But you know, with this space, some people may be seeing you for the very first time, don't know who that gentleman is, Philip Martinez. So can you just give us just a brief intro as to who Mr. Philip Martinez is and the type of work that you are involved in brief?
You want me to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, basically, I'm a film producer initially. And we've made 10 movies, and we bought a hotel in St. Kitts, and we were So I make American movies for Netflix, Amazon, companies like that. And we had a good series of films that we shot in St. Kitts and Nevis with their CBI program. And then 3 years ago, I was made a stakeholder in the CBI program. And, almost immediately, within 2 months, I've discovered some alarming information about it. I brought it to the local authority who have ignored my warning. And after a year, I decided in July 2023 to bring the matter to United States Homeland Security. And I've been cooperating with Homeland Security and the Department of Justice since then. So I've been with my team, not just me, with my team, we have been investigating the CBI program in the Caribbean since 2000, since August 2022.
2022, you said. And
Yeah.
so far, how has that journey been in terms of, the mission that you and your team have set out to do in terms of helping clean up, as it were, the mess, really, passport programs in the region?
Well, it's so far, you can't help clean up when the people that are running the program don't want to be cleaned, right?
Okay.
What has happened in the past few months has given a major boost to our investigation. You have been hearing for the past year that they have rebranded their program and they're going to work unified, and they work on 6 principles with the US government, which they had meetings with the US Treasury. But the US Treasury was not aware of our investigation and of the evidence that we've provided to the Department of Justice and to the discussion and the briefing we gave to the State Department. So I was always a little bit smiling when I was hearing them having meeting and saying how well they cooperate and the 6 principles and how the CBI program is going to be now well organized. I was smiling because I knew, because I remember if in our last podcast, I've explained to you that one day it's going to get a problem and you're going to start to have threat and sanctions. If you recall, I did warn you of that.
Yes, for sure, you did. You did
Yeah.
warn us in Dominica and the region, yes.
Yeah, so what has happened is that Ralph Gonzalez has kind of some of the information that we, I think that he has been briefed by someone, and he came out very strongly a couple of months ago, I think a month ago, calling out the problem of the CBI program in the region and outlining what's wrong with it and saying it's going to be the end. Okay. So, but what really, really, really has triggered is it took us 2.5 years, but in January 2025, so only a few months ago, we have obtained to court order and subpoena in the US the bank record. You know that every time they use US dollar, it goes through the US banking system, right? So we have obtained the bank transaction of some of the companies and officials operating in the Caribbean and some of the official leaders. So we spent 2 months analyzing those data. We found a lot of offshore company based in offshore countries. So that has been a big break because And of course, I've delivered those bank statements to the US Department of Justice. I mean, not me, but my lawyers in Washington. And the second thing that we found out that has given a new boost to our investigation, because let me be clear, I'm speaking on behalf of myself, right? Even though I've been cooperating with the U.S. government for the past couple of years, what I'm saying is that I'm speaking on myself because my problem is that at the end of the day, it's the poor citizen that's going to end up paying the price.
Yes.
And I think that it's not fair that at least they don't know what's coming. When we spoke last, I told you you could run into the risk of not being able to enter the United States, right? And everybody say that I was crazy. Well, now it is. Now you have officially the threat of that.
Well,
So
to be fair, Mr. Martinez is not everybody. Some people, the naysayers, they were, oh, Mr. Martinez is just talking. But yes, you on point and you're still on point. There is this pending, as it were, visa restriction, visa ban for some citizens of this region. So you're on point.
So the second thing that has created, because look, the fact that President Trump has been elected in the United States has been a game changer, okay? Because he takes extremely seriously, and Marco Rubio, the issue of national security for the US, of who's coming in the country, right? This is not about Dominica or St. Lucia or St. Kitts to be the sovereign nation. You guys can do what you want. It's about people that are coming in the United States. So the fact is that a lot of people are talking nonsense. They don't know what they're talking about. So that's why I've agreed to your invitation to try to give some clarity, right?
Yes.
Because I know the details of what's happening. So what do we know? We know that about a month ago, the United States has communicated a list of banning 12 countries, Afghanistan, Yemen, people like that, countries like that.
Yes.
And we have been able to see, like you, that the State Department made a press conference last week to confirm that they have listed 36 countries, with countries like Sudan and, that could face threat to enter the United States, right? Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, and Antigua Barbuda are listed on that. So the first question is, that one has to ask himself is why a touristical island, right? Because you guys are mainly touristical island that rely on tourists, beautiful beaches, beautiful sceneries. How do these 4 countries end up on the list that potentially your citizen could be barred to enter the United States? How did you get to that point? Now, the signs were already given because already the State Department had listed on their website that the CBI concern regarding China and Iran was the trigger, right? So that's the issue. Okay.
Repeat that trigger again, please. The trigger you mentioned about China and Iran.
Well, 2 months ago already, the State Department had on their website, published the fact that the CBI and the issue related to China and Iran were the issue. Okay. So what is the issue, right? Because people like to manipulate their local population by saying they want to punish us. It's nothing to do with that. Okay, this is not about you, the local population, being able to come to the United States. It's the fact that through the CBI program, okay, those countries have sold more passports than their local population. Okay, I'm just going to give you an example. In St. Lucia, during the former administration led by Alan Chastanet, they sold like 800 passports. The new administration has already sold over 40,000 passports in 3 years, right? Now, these people are not buying the passport to actually live in your country. There is no direct link between the country and that issuing the passport and the passport, that's the guy that buy the passport, okay? So these people are buying the passport as a travel instrument to travel in the United States and to travel in the European community. So what you saw happen in the last 2 weeks is several things. One, the United States has now officially put those 4 CBI countries on the list that they will have to respect for the citizen of Dominica. And when I mean the citizen, I'm sorry to say, you might end up paying the price of all the Chinese and the Middle Eastern that bought your passport, right? Why? Okay. Well, why there are things that I cannot share with you, but I can tell you categorically that we have discovered in the past 2 months issues related to the vetting of the passport. And when I mean issues, I mean security breach, right? Now, whether and again, we can't, not every country is the same, some programs are more run properly than others, okay? But what I can tell you for a fact is that we have uncovered several security breach in the process, right? So now we know that there is 250,000 passports that have been issued out there, right? And there is a absolute emergency to know who those people really are. And as you know, a major part came from China and a major part came from the Middle East. There has been some arrests already of people that have committed crime and money laundering in the United States with those passports, right? So you can appreciate and we are the one that have initiated that investigation and brought the case to the Department of Justice because that represents a security threat to the United States, right? And we've discovered 2 months ago some things that has created a sense of emergency. Let's just put it that way. Okay. And please don't ask me what it is because I won't be able to tell you, okay? And the other thing is that after analyzing the bank statement, we were able to locate corruption money and offshore companies belonging to Caribbean officials, right? Now, I have been saying that for a year and a half publicly, but now we have the evidence, and the Department of Justice has the evidence. So we're now going to the next step because I receive a lot of calls of people asking me, can I see them? No. If I give the financial statement to some reporter in Dominica or in St. Kitts or St. Lucia, nothing will happen. Okay, we have evidence that director of public prosecution in those countries, at least one, has not been able to investigate freely based on information that we have given them. So the next step, because obviously the US Department of Justice and Homeland Security are conducting their investigation, but in our case, our case has become so public, and the national security has attracted so much publicity in DC that we have been approached by people because we had a screening of a documentary that we've made called "The Man Who Sold the Caribbean to China" to the U.S. Congress, and as a result of that, some people contacted us, and we have been asked now to be part of a congressional hearing, right? So I think that a congressional hearing is the tools that is the proper venue to reveal the national security breach that have been made, and the money that some Caribbean officials have benefited from those schemes.
You may not want to go there, but you mentioned the security breaches. So could you at least go a little deeper, 1, 2, 3 situations where some of these breaches that you guys saw, you guys were alarmed about? Would you dare go there?
No, because
just to give us a heads up.
I have been speaking for the past 2 years, not anymore, not for the past 6 months, and I will tell you why, with the various Caribbean leaders, Roosevelt Skerritt, I've exchanged with Terence Drew, and Brown also we exchanged, and now I'm exchanging also with another country. There is an arrogance and the comfort of power and the comfort of money that some people have, that they have no inclination. They were very, how would I say, disregarding our investigation. Well, now it's a different ball game, because now, after a year of them telling their citizens that they're working hand to hand with the United States, right, Treasury on 6 principles and everything is going well. Well, last week, the State Department has put them on the list of countries that could be banned. That's one. 2, we've told them, I've told at least for only one issue of security breach, we communicated to the government of St. Kitts and they've ignored it, right? Since then, we've discovered more, very disturbing ones. So no, I think it's better that we have provided that to the US government. It's better for the US government to do that when they feel that the time is to do that, And if not, I will then reveal it if I'm going to be in the US Congress at a congressional hearing. And if I'm being asked questions by the Congress, I will, I cannot lie under oath, and I will remit all the evidence that I have in my possession, which includes the bank statement. And believe me, in the last 3 months, we have contacted so many people overseas that told them, can you tell us about that money? That this is going to be the next 3 months. Now, the last thing that has happened as well is that last week, the European Union published on their official website that they're moving in the fall, right, with a law to propose to stop the visa-free access, right? So what you have here is a case of the perfect storm is coming together from the US, from the EU, and very likely through a congressional hearing, where, because, it needs to be addressed. And as you know, those Caribbean leaders, they goes in front of their press, which most of the time they control, and they don't respond to the question that they're being asked, right? And then there is the last issue, which is the banking corresponding, which is going to be a big issue. I'm giving you a heads up right now. That's going to be a big issue because, unfortunately, this whole thing that got me involved, right, was the fact that in order to respect the law, I would have to sell the passport at the legal price, which is $250,000, where Chinese and Middle Eastern were selling illegally those passports for less than $100,000, right? So we have all the evidence, we have all the contract, and they are with the US government. And people call that underselling, but what it is really is a financial fraud going to the US banking system. So that's going to be, the national security is the biggest problem, which is what is now alarming the State Department. And then you're going to have the banking situation, which is going to be a problem. And all of that, I'm sorry to say, could have been avoided if they would have listened to our advice. But the arrogance and the advisor that they have, some of those countries, including yours, have given them really bad advice. Really bad advice. There's a system in place where people have become so rich that they feel that they are untouchable. I think they're about to find out that nobody is untouchable when you put national security of the United States at risk.
Very, very revealing indeed. Alvin, before you comes in here, let me just ask Brother Martinez a very direct question here. So you dubbed it a perfect storm, whereby the EU and the US, they are continuing to tighten the screws, as it were, on the people who want these passports to enter their countries. In terms of those tightening of the screws, would you say that some of these programs, or if not all of these programs, will eventually come to a grinding halt, whereby the rush or the urge for these passports would significantly drop because of the tightening of these screws by the EU and the US?
I do not believe. I'm going to give you an example, right, so that you understand. The marketer and advisor of your country, CS Global, Dev Bath, right, has been making a fortune out of your passport and St. Kitts and also in St. Lucia for a very long time, right? I had a very big problem when I met him in London, and he made it clear to me and to the president of my company, who's a former US intelligence officer, of his very strong anti-American feeling. Now, this is someone that makes millions of dollars from your passport, right? That person is your advisor and your marketer of the country, right? And when I came out and have exposed things, he basically came up with a plan, which we were informed on real time, to try to destabilize my investigation with fake AI recording that they make in India, because he's an Indian guy. He's actually an official for the Indian government, not for the St. Kitts government in India, and all type of dirty, because that's how those guys proceed. They put on social media to discredit, but that does nothing to me. You know why? Because we have their bank statement. Because the US government knows everything now in terms of security breach, in terms of corruption of officials. So the fake AI that they do, the video, they say we were trying to they claim that we were trying to extort money. No, we have been defrauded of tens of millions of dollars by these people by investing in program where the level field was not fair, where Chinese company that were breaking security and Middle East, right? So that's not a fair competition for Chinese company. So now, this man is on the radar of every American agency, thanks to me. And it will take a lot more than little video and false claim to scare me, because now we're moving ahead with a group of people other companies that have been victim of Chinese unfair competition to the Congress. And more important, the US government has made it clear now of their concern. And I think that you will see over the summer that the problem are going to. So I don't think that at this stage it can be fixed, right? Because when I like Skerritt, I had pleasant exchange with him, right? But I told him, I said, look, it's nice that you've canceled 68 passports, but you know that those passports, all of them have been sold under the legal price. So you should cancel all of them or ask the people to pay the difference, right? Nobody wants to change because, when you're an official and you have 40, 50, 100, $200 million offshore, life is good. Life is good, right? But, there are sanctions that could eventually be taking place. And I think that when the US Congress will find out, well, how much money these people have made, because I can tell you, we've located the money of every one of them, right? So, and we have incredible witnesses that are going to show up. But that's our thing. So I regret that I've done the civil lawsuit initially last year because it was a waste of time. I should have gone straight to the Congress. That's it. Look, when you have a lot of money, an offshore company that you've put under your wife, your children, the US government finds out everything,
Things will be exposed.
They definitely will be exposed. You have my word on it.
Sure.
Because once they've allowed Dev Bath to run and things like to criticize me, they have opened the gate of hell. I have, at this stage, there is no lobbyist or lawyers that can prevent the truth to happen, because what's at stake here? Look, I'm going to be very honest with you. They were very happy last year, at the beginning of the year, because the Foreign Corruption Practices Act in the United States was kind of put on hold, right? But 2 weeks ago, it's back, stronger. So I don't believe that these Caribbean, and I shouldn't say all of them, because some are good guys, right? But I don't believe that the ones that have so much money have the courage to say, how can we fix it? They're going to have the arrogance to meet and say, we're handling it, we're talking to our US partner, and America is our friend. Okay. Well, you're going to see that the next 3-4 months are going to be very interesting.
Very crucial indeed. Thank you very much, brother Martinez. So far, so good in terms of the information here. Alvin, you have been listening. Any thoughts from you, brother?
Yeah, it's quite a bit. I think Mr. Martinez has unpacked for us so far. But I have 2 questions for him. Mm-hmm. In his remarks, he said that he alluded to the fact that some of the programs are being managed properly. So my question is, what's your overall take on the program? Is it because you said you began in St. Kitts, you did some 10+ films. What is your overall take of the program? And do you think the CVI program of itself could be a good program that could be undertaken? And also, and also you mentioned that from your information, there are about 250,000 passports that are issued. Are you referring to the 4 banned countries?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your overall take of the program? Do you think, because you went into it, so do you think...
I think that the citizenship program is important to the economy of this country, but I think that I support the leader of the opposition in St. Lucia view that it should be a regional program on the ECS countries together, right? Because, look, it's nice to sell passports, right? And it's nice to generate an income for your country. But only 25% of the money end up in your country. My investigation has been focusing on, one, who benefit the other 75%, right? You follow the money and you understand. So I think that the suggestion of Alan Chasteny to make a regional program on the level of the OECS, where all the money comes into part, right, is the one way to go for sure, okay? I think also that there are so many middlemen. You got to understand, right? When your country makes $25,000 on a passport, right? Someone in one small office in Dubai is making $25,000, right? Why? Someone in a small office in China is also making $25,000. And some officials are making money too. So you end up with only 25% of the purchase price of the passport, and 75% disappeared. It's okay because I found the money. I was able to get the bank statement that has allowed us to understand the scheme and the ramification of where the money went, right? So I believe that those programs could be safe. But look, the one thing that I can tell you is that the European Union just, I think I sent you the link of their website. They are threatening the end of the free visa, right? So for the exact same reason that I've mentioned to you, okay, issue with due diligence, corruption, and other things, right? Because all those Chinese and Iraqi and Middle Eastern that buy the passport, they don't come to live in Dominica. They go to the United States, and unfortunately, I have to tell you, some bad people bought the passport. Some really, really, really bad people. And that's going to come out. This is why I can come to you on a program and say that they should have listened to us and take our advice, but I don't think that they have that in there. So I do not see a good outcome of what's happening. You have to understand, Alvin, when you are an official and you've got 50 or $75 million in the Middle East, do you really want to come and face me or face the US government? Do you think that the US government doesn't have the capacity to find out who owns each company? I think that they're about to have a bad surprise. And that's their fault. That's their fault. Because I've told them, come to DC. We're going to show you what you've done. You can fix it. So now it's 11:45 at night, and the 12 hours is in 15 minutes. That's the situation that they are. And that's a situation that it's not been created by the United States or by the European Union. It's been created by some of the people, not all of the people. There's some good people, of course, by some people that have did some really, really bad things. And they were convinced that by trying to attack my character or make some fake AI video, they were going to scare me. I don't think they understand who I'm working with.
Let me
And I want you to know something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they had a meeting, right, where they came up with a plan to try to. We were informed of that meeting and what was said in the meeting within 20 minutes. Within half an hour, Homeland Security and the Department of Justice were aware. We told them this is what they're planning to do. They used to do those scare technique to control people on social media, right? But we're monitoring social media too as well. I have someone in my company that monitors social media as well. Plus we haven't talked about the big elephant in the room, which is, everything is happening at once,
Yes.
10 days ago, the Israeli government has decided to defend himself against a country, not a country, I shouldn't say the country because I love Persian people, but a regime, Islamist regime that sponsor terrorism, the Mullah. And last night, President Trump has bombed their nuclear facility, right? So, you know, there's a lot of things that happen. You know, there's sanctions were done with that came out 3 weeks ago for some Iranian with some Caribbean passport that are laundering money, that were laundering money in the United States. There's a lot of happened. The world has become very, very complicated, and especially today.
Yeah,
Let me
thanks.
ask,
Alvin, go ahead.
let
Yes,
me ask
yes.
a follow-up, sorry. In terms of the folks, your company who started in St. Kitts,
Yeah.
your company and yourself, do any one of you own the St. Kitts passport?
We have never sold one passport. We are the only company that have not sold one passport. Okay.
And neither do you all own, neither of you are citizens of St. Kitts.
No. I'm in the United States. Absolutely. I was advised by the U.S. government to remain in the U.S. until the investigation is over, for my safety. Okay.
And you'll have not sold any passport, you said?
No, absolutely. Zero. The day of the election of Prime Minister Drew, we brought to his attention some of the evidence that we had. But look, it doesn't really matter who the Prime Minister are. There are some families that benefit of this money. It's a club, right? So the system will never change, right? Things will change when certain things will happen. They just had the first surprise last week with the State Department putting them on the list, which you have to admit, it's insane that I came to your country. It's a beautiful country. Why is your country on the list with Sudan and you could be on the list, blacklisted with Yemen, right? Mm-hmm. So if there is a pathway to save perhaps something, but I really don't believe. I think that those guys, they're going to keep doing what they're doing, saying that they're in contact with the U.S. government and, you know, whatever. They just don't know.
Yeah. All right, Brother Martinez, thanks for sort of, you know, polishing up that information for us. Just before we take that all important break, the midway break in 5 minutes time, we have a lot of people listening, and these people are not ministers. They are not people of high repute, quote unquote. And they would want to know whether the potential ban, when it comes into effect, if it comes into effect, that they will be affected in one way, shape, or form. Can you unpack that for these people?
No, I can't, because the leak from the Washington Post said that it was going to come on effect last Wednesday, right? But Tammy, the lady from the State Department, in her press conference, said that the country have received a diplomatic cable about it, right? But on Saturday, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and the Prime Minister of St. Lucia on Friday claimed that they have not received anything, right? So I believe, look, the one thing that you have to understand is, based on the breach of security that we found out in the last 3 months, right? It's going to be much tighter already.
And again, so you are not willing to give us an eye opener,
no, because I would be lying if I would tell you, right? But what I can listen, the only advice I can give to the scarlet of the world, right, is you have not listened to me. And now you're having the very first signal that there is a problem, right? So if you believe that the United States government doesn't know every single detail, you're making a colossal mistake. So now, listen, if Scarrett calls me, I'll be happy to tell him what he should be doing to try to save this, right? Because like I said, it's the visa situation, the bank is going to be a problem, and, other problem will be coming for sure that they've created. I'm sorry, they've created this situation, right? And the fact that they are directly responsible to make me lose so much money, and on top of that, to insult me and defame my character when a lot of people are with a criminal network that has abused their brothers, their citizens. And I have to tell you, Loftus, I'm having a lot of pleasure to expose them and their fortune and their family fortune to the US government. It gives me a great pleasure because at the end of the day, it's money that has been defrauded from the people of the Caribbean, right? So if it took a tough guy like me to expose that, well, I'm very proud of that.
A while ago, in terms of your own words, sir, just as we started, I got the impression that these programs, like those in Dominica, the one in Dominica, it is sort of on an irreversible track now. And you just said a while ago, basically countering what you said before, that if Skerrit would come to you, you'd offer him some suggestions as to how to fix. Where do you go from there in terms of,
Look,
what is your statement?
My statement is I like Gaston Brown, right? I actually was surprised to see him on the list. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I disagree with how he's handling it. Okay. Right. The thing is that the US government has kind of forgot about these Caribbean countries, and China took over. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I was surprised that the program of Antigua was on the list. Okay. I was not surprised about the other program as well. I know every single detail of all CBI countries.
So you were not surprised that Dominica made that list?
No, of course not. Okay. But I told that to Skerrit when we spoke last year about the underselling, right? So the reason why I am skeptical is that once you touch, according to the statement of the State Department, the national security of the United States, once you realize what we found out and which we provided to the US government, then you really have to come clean. You have to stop the bullshit attitude that they have. I see, we record all their press conference, right? And we smile. They can get away with it because,
So again, respectfully, Mr. Martinez, just before we take that break, can the Dominica program be fixed or not, based on what you saw so far?
I do not believe that there is a political will, right, mm-hmm. for them to take our advice and to say, this is what you need to do, and you need to do it right now. Okay. Because hell is coming.
Because hell is upon us.
Okay. And it's not, but Loftus, Alvin, you got to understand, they made so much money. They got away for so long. They never expected. Imagine an American film producer with a French accent has their bank account, found the national security breach, and gave them to the US government and cooperated with the US government for the past year and a half, 2 years actually. Okay? You know, they never expected that, right? And because I believe that what some of them, because you cannot general things, you know, some of them have really did some nasty things and stole a lot of money. I believe that they have to be exposed in a US congressional hearing about Chinese influence and national security to the United States, right? And that's what we are making happen right now.
All right, indeed. Thank you very much. So far, so good. We are there midway of the program. That is, we're going to do this one from Nasio Fontaine, our brother here in Dominica. He calls this one Revolution. Take a listen, folks. We'll be back in just a bit. Very interesting so far with the brother, Mr. Philip Martinez, as he continues to drill down on the illegalities thereof of the programs in Dominica and the region, and some of the other 36 countries facing this potential ban from the United States and the EU. Folks, if you want to add your voice to the program, the numbers on your screen as we speak. These are the numbers to get your voice in, huh?
So many words eating up your apple.
We're gonna take some of your comments in just a bit while.
Trouble. The apple look rosy on the outside.
I told you once this brother Martinez is here.
On the inside. The apple look rosy on the outside.
Then he will expect
Rotten on the inside.
some really, really crucial information about our livelihood, as it were, in the Caribbean. That is the sale of our passports.
I see Beauty and the Beast sitting on the throne.
Mr. Livers Esprit, good evening to you, my bro. I'll ask that question to Mr. Martinez in just a while.
Upon dead man's bones. I've seen your crimes and your atrocities. Judgment is now. That is your reality, yes.
That's a positive line from the brother Nasir Fontaine here.
Outside, get you know that it's rotten on the inside. Though the apple look rosy on the outside, get you know that it's rotten on the inside.
Yes, indeed, the passport programs look rosy on the outside.
Looking from the belly up
with all what the government officials are telling us about the goodies of these programs in terms of the construction of homes and the service that they provide to the citizens. Not telling us it's just about 25% reaching our coffers. So soon come. Brother Resnet, good evening to you. And all of you here on the social media feed, on YouTube as well, good evening to your YouTubers. And yes, the CBI apple, it looks rosy on the outside, but Nasio is telling us it is rotten on the inside. Mr. Martinez have been saying that for a little while.
From the cup of bread. Devils in disguise.
Mr. Martinez and his team.
Them trying to
We want to thank these guys, Martinez and his team, for basically digging deep. As he alluded to earlier, some of these AGs and this director of public prosecutions in these countries, their hands are tied. Both hands are tied as it relates to investigating proper investigation of these programs. So it has to take a man like Mr. Martinez and his team to unearth certain things in the people's interests. And so on that note, we say thank you very much, Mr. Martinez and your team. Mr. Jefferson Winston, good evening to you.
You're looking good from afar.
Marceline Edwards, good evening to you as well. Folks, it is 7 minutes past 7 o'clock. Now is your time. The numbers to call into the program, they are 245-2396 or 615-9470. These are the two numbers to get your voices, your opinions, your suggestions into the program. But let's get back to the conversation at hand before guest here, Mr.
Loftus, I just want to make sure that I responded to the question of the person that asked you a question.
Yes.
We don't know when the ban will be in effect because Tammy at the State Department said in the press conference that they will give some time. Listen, this will be a tragedy for these countries to lose access to enter the US, right? But as long as the people in charge are not really addressing the issue, they're running the risk to have a real problem, right?
All right, Martinez, just stick a pin there. We're going to take a couple calls. One is in. Caller, yes, good evening to you. Civic Vibes.
Yes, blessed day to you all. Mr. Loftus, Mr. Martinez, and Mr.
Thomas Alvin, yes.
Yeah.
Alvin, yes. Okay, blessed day to you all.
Yeah.
I, as a Dominican and a Caribbean person and someone that loves the Caribbean, I want to say to this gentleman, Mr. Martinez, thank you for all what he's doing. Because there's a lot of people and in the Caribbean that need that these passport sellers and this government could have a better life and have a better direction for the development of persons, for people in the Caribbean that they choose not to. So I want to tell him thank you for all that information. And I want him to know not only me, many others like me that have love for country is very appreciative of that effort and what he's saying. So I'm Lofty, thank you for that program. That's a well-informed program. A lot of persons, should really get it. I hope it will be replayed and it go further, and it's something the whole Caribbean should listen to. Thank you, my brother, and God bless you all.
God bless you as well. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, thank you. Thank you for your succinct comments here. Basically, Mr. Martinez, this call is thanking you and your team for work done thus far.
Well, I do believe, so thank you for the caller. I do believe that years of fraud, of security breach. And let me tell you something, for me to come on a program like you and make such a strong statement, I defy any Caribbean official to come to DC and I'll take them straight to the US government who has all the evidence of what I'm saying. They don't want to face that. The attitude has been to ignore the calls for reform. You cannot expect people to trust you to come to their country, because that's what it's about. It's about they're sending passports to Chinese and Middle Eastern that come to the United States and come to Europe, right? Now, a lot of those people are good people, don't get me wrong, but some are really bad people. That's problem number one. Problem number two is only 25% of the money end up in the country. What kind of bullshit is that? So my job has been to find the money. Where does the 75% goes? right? Now that's easy when you have the bank statement, right? So, and then imagine me handing over the bank statement to the US government, and imagine the power of the US government, what they have found out. Imagine me handing over in the past 3 months to the US government evidence of security breach that pose a threat to the United States. And imagine what they have found out. Because look, I'm going to be honest with you. I speak to the agent on a regular basis, at least 4 to 5 times a week, okay? Because they call me, ask me questions, that document, whatever, you know. I'm very proud because I know that we've discovered some really bad people. So, you know, I don't understand how a leader, knowing that 40 or 50 or 60% of the income of his country come from that program, didn't listen to our warning. And that's arrogance. Well, the first wave of concern is now. But I promise you, I can assure you that the gravity of what we found is going to be a major problem on several aspects. And for me to come to say that to you guys, it's because I believe that, you know, the people should know. You know, and, you know, like I said, I don't, you know, there is not going to be a good case scenario here because, look, I give you an example, right? I'm going to tell you something which, you know, some people are going to be really upset at me that I say it, right? But one person in one Caribbean government, they don't call me directly because they're too scared of me, right? But call someone from my company a month ago to because I think that they knew about it, about the travel ban. They knew about it before, right? But I cannot confirm that. And they say, look, we're very concerned. We know something is happening. And we know that you guys have, your investigation has initiated that. We want to fix the problem with Martinez, but we want to do it only when we know that there's going to be a problem. Do you understand the issue? They would like to somehow get me that out of the way, but only when someone is arrested. So
they want the proof. They want the proof.
Exactly. So they had the first warning, and you know, the travel ban is a big problem because if the travel ban comes in effect, right, that means that your country is on the list with countries like Afghanistan and Yemen. Do you think American tourists are going to come? Do you think that airlines are going to come? Now, I see on social media people talking about passport from Iran that has been sold. Yeah, first of all, right now, those countries are not allowed for quite some time to sell passport to Iranian, right? But we discovered things. We discovered things.
Yeah. All right. Alvin, let's take some comments from the live feed and throw them at Mr. Martinez for his response, please.
I saw one there.
Okay, there's Mr. Levers Esprit. Whilst you look for some others, there, Mr. Levers Esprit is asking Martinez, can he speak to Mr. Paolo Zampoli? If Paolo Zampoli had anything to do with the CBI program in the Caribbean, he is now a special envoy to the Trump administration. Do you know that name, Mr. Zampoli?
No.
No, okay.
I heard the name, but for me, knowing is when I know someone.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Well,
but yes,
go ahead.
You spoke about a brother, Dev Bath, a while ago, which sort of caught my attention indeed. On last Monday gone, that is the 16th, there was some court matter in the United Kingdom I'm being told of, where this name, Dev Bath, and other person's name came up in terms of the having to answer to the names if the court sees it fit. From these allegations coming from a brother of India, Mr. Choksi, he said that he was kidnapped from Antigua and Barbuda, brought to Dominica, and he was arrested today, I believe, in Belgium. And so that case of torture and kidnap and whatever is now before a United Kingdom court. But the name, interestingly, Dev Bath, came up alleging that he was the ringleader in that whole orchestration. And so I just thought I'd bring that up as to a name that you may have come across in terms of dealing in the past.
Yeah. But it's not that I know. Okay. The Dev Bath is the one that has caused this investigation to go to the US.
Okay.
We went in his office with the president of my company, Mr. Buloa, and Mr. Buloa, let's just say that he's an American hero. I cannot reveal what he's done for the United States, but let's just say that if Mr. Bath would have known who he is, and that guy has basically insulted us, telling that, fuck America. Sorry to say that, but that's what he told us, right? And, I called the Prime Minister and St. Kitts, and I say, what is that? This guy is your envoy, and he insults us. And the AG of St. Kitts, and this guy is in control. He makes $20,000. He was making $20,000 on every passport sold, and then now it's $10,900 in those countries, right? He's super rich, out of your back, right? And then, because he convinced the government of India to deliver you the vaccine, and he told me he paid $600,000 for the transfer, right, of the shipping. He said, I paid $600,000 to help my brother in the Caribbean. I'm like, Dave, you've made hundreds of millions. It's okay to pay $600,000, okay? Don't bullshit me, okay? Now, he's involved, or at least he's allegedly involved, right, of the kidnapping of Schlusky, which Schlusky ended up being in a jail and was released from Dominica, right? Now, Dev Bass claimed that he doesn't know the kidnappers, that he's never met them, and it was a coincidence that he was in Antigua when the kidnapping took place, right? That's what his defense is going to be. Now, I have to tell you, Loftus, because I'm a tough guy. I sent a message to Dev Bath a few months ago. I said, Dave, I understand you're in St. Kitts. Why don't you go to see my lawyer? I want him to show you a video surveillance that I have obtained of you in Antigua with some people. I've got very powerful friends, Mr. Loftus. When I want to know someone, so, believe me, Dev Bass is right now the special envoy of the government of St. Kitts in India. Mm-hmm. Very powerful man. He's very powerful in your country, right? But he ain't more powerful than the United States government. I can tell you that right now. Dev Bass is not more powerful than the United States government right now. That I can tell you.
McCarthy Sean Remy is posing a situation there to you.
Yeah.
And that says the minister responsible for the CBI program in St. Lucia said to us that the money earned from the passport sales doesn't belong to us, meaning the citizens. It's the property of the investor. You ever heard BS like this before, and this person is asking the question to you not directly. Who does the passport belongs to?
Listen, I don't want to go into specific case of Ernest Hiller, okay? Ernest Hiller has been lying to his citizens since the day I came to the scene, okay? He was telling them that I came and I said, look, they have given to the Chinese the right to sell 45,000 passports. And Ernest Hiller went to Parliament and said that I was lying. But I had the contract signed. So I published them, right? So now, all I can say to Ernest Hiller is, you know, the Prime Minister of St. Lucia said a few months ago, name me one country that has a potential issue with the St. Lucia passport. Well, here's my response. The United States government just told you that they have one problem. How about that? And right now, the world is in a very, we don't know what tomorrow is going to be with what's happening in Iran right now. So the world is become very complicated. So no, we don't care about Ernest Hiller. I will reveal how much Ernest Hiller has made out of that in a congressional hearing.
Sure.
And that's live on television.
All right.
Let me ask you, Mr. Martinez.
Yeah.
Grenada does not appear on that list. Why do you think so? And they too are in the program. Grenada,
I don't know.
Are they managing their program better than the other islands?
I don't know. You know, everybody has been, look, in the last 4 days, my phone is exploding, right? This morning, I have people that are calling me, they're leaving Dubai because they're afraid that Iran could, you know, send some missiles in Dubai. When the proposed ban was announced officially by the State Department, a lot of people call me and say, okay, so what you were telling us is true. It's happening. So a lot of people are flipping right now and they want to come to meet us in DC to testify. So the short answer, Alvin, is I give all the evidence that I found out to the US government. I don't know what they found on their own. They don't tell me. That's not how it works, right? So maybe they found things that that the program is more legit. I was surprised. My response to, I thought that that Dominica, I'm sorry, I thought that Antigua was going to be off the hook, but definitely not Grenada. But you know, again, the U.S. government has tools that I don't have. So if they made that decision, it's that they probably have not found a security breach of due diligence that we found elsewhere.
Yeah, Flambeau is writing here, and you just want a response from you.
Yeah.
Students and others who work on the cruise ships are not given visas, are not being given visas. Can you speak to that? Can you go down that road in terms of authenticating that, sir?
I can't because I'm not the U.S. government. Okay, so I would be, you know, a lot of people talk about things that they don't know.
Well, are you hearing of situations that persons are saying that
yes,
they went to the US embassy to try to get visas?
Because right now,
they would deny
with what have been discovered, okay, the U.S. government is going to triple check everything, right? You know, an issue come up as well because Marco Rubio, look, I full disclosure, I adore Trump and Marco Rubio. Okay, Marco Rubio is a fantastic opportunity for the Caribbean if the Caribbean plays straight. Okay, but you have people on social media in the Caribbean that insult, criticize America in a big way. Well, why do you want to have a visa to come study in America if you hate America? That's the policy of the United States now. And I totally agree with that. Go to China.
You tell them, go to China or Venezuela.
Yeah, go to Venezuela. Go to see you know, you know, I mean, I'm sorry, but, you know, I know that there is the whole Caribbean brother, but, you know, everybody knows what's going on in Venezuela with Hezbollah and Hamas and Iranian. And you guys go and kiss the ass of Maduro? And then you're surprised that that the United States doesn't want your passport holder to come in the United States? I mean, you know, who sold those passports to these people? I mean, you know, gotta be realistic here. It's not a game. Those are bad people.
So, Mr. Martinez, you're saying before the program ends here in a very categoric manner that you're in no doubt that the hammer is about to drop, as it were, on some of these programs with very crucial consequences.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Loftus Duran. Would you have thought 10 days ago that your country will be on the list with country like Yemen and Sudan, and you know, and that you could be facing the threat of not entering the United States? Did you ever think? Now, I know that for a year and a half because I know what we found ourselves.
Well, Mr. Martinez, just to answer your question, sir, I have been advocating for a much more accountable process in the CBI program in Dominica. Yeah. So you found that out, as you say, a year and a half ago. But to me, 10 years ago, I knew the road we have been walking, the trajectory we have been on. Then sooner rather than later, we would end up there. So to me, Dominica being on that list is no surprise to me.
Okay,
a matter of fact, to me, that is lit in the making for me.
Yeah.
Because we have, it's alleged, again, the government is not being transparent with us in terms of the passport sold. And can you imagine, just before I give you an idea of the numbers that have been floating around,
yeah,
can you imagine that in Dominica, in our parliament,
yeah,
the Speaker of the House, he doesn't want the members in the House, especially those on the opposition side, to talk about the sales of our passport.
There is, I've understood, right, that you cannot expect the truth to come in those countries. Well, everybody is part of the...
I'm just cementing that fact then.
Okay. It's impossible. Okay. We have documents that nobody knows about that are in possession of now the US government that shows that there was no way a investigation could be led properly, freely, right? Which is why at first thing that I did, you need to understand that, first thing that I did was going to Homeland Security in July 2023. Then I did the civil case, right, the RICO case, and I wasted time on that because of their diplomatic immunity. Now we're using the tools of the US government, you know, so whistleblower form that we filed in 2024, where we line the whole system, who made money, who committed fraud, and we put all the evidence to the Department of Justice. So that's one, right? But then the Congress is where things become public. You understand? You go on C-SPAN, live on TV, and yes, you reveal the evidence. You reveal the bank account.
You give us an idea, Mr. Martinez, about the numbers of passports sold in St. Lucia based on your research. Can you give us an idea of, you know, your findings about Dominica?
No, because the reason I said to you the number of St. Lucia is because I published the contract on our website.
Okay.
When the deputy prime minister was lying to his people.
Okay.
But you know, I'm a nice guy. I told him, you're gonna have to sacrifice. I told the deputy prime minister in an interview that in order to save his country, he's gonna have to come to DC and sacrifice himself.
Okay. So is it that you don't want to publicize that number now about
I don't want to
specific?
publicize now.
You have the numbers.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right.
Listen, there is nobody in the Caribbean that knows more. So, you know, of course.
Let me ask another question, Mr. Martinez. Why do you think that?
There's one on the live feed, Alvin. Just permit me to ask you one on the live feed because we need some engagement with the people there.
Yeah.
Question from Mr. Theobald says, did Grenada not put a ban on the agency as it Shanghai? I've forgotten the right name right now, but did Grenada not blacklist some agencies? Rightfully, all the rest have not done it. That person says, I think Grenada, he says, is not out of the woods as yet. And that
Grenada,
asking what you think.
Listen, I'm not talking for the US government. Grenada, as someone who I know quite well, has revealed evidence that a Chinese company, again, has undersold the passport of Grenada, right? So the Grenada government put a press release that they were putting him on hold under the investigation, you know. And like I said to everybody, I said, look, they're going to investigate them for 2 months. And in 2 months, they will say that they've done nothing. And they will blacklist a few small agents in Dubai, you know, and that's it, right? So, look, Alan Chastanet is the only leader of the Caribbean that has had the courage to come to DC and to meet the investigating US government authority. So he understands the gravity of the problem, right? Listen, I don't want to say more about Grenada. I'm surprised about Grenada, but that means that the US government has information that I don't have.
All right.
Let me ask Mr. Martinez, why do you think other persons like yourself have not come forward and do what you're doing, given all what have happened in the CVI program throughout the 4 countries, that you're the only one?
No, that's not true. There is a lawyer that works with your country, a gentleman called Sam Bayat. I was talking to him actually this morning, who has made an interview 5, 6, 7 years ago to explain that there was fraud and corruption in the CBI, right? He was specifically referring to the one in St. Kitts, right? But you got to understand, right? When you go and do what I did, you have to, you know, when you go to the Homeland Security and say, this is some evidence, this is what I think I found out. I think that I found out a massive problem of national security to the United States, of money laundering and corruption and financial fraud to the banking system. You better know that you're right. Because the first thing that the United States government does is look at you and the entire life, right? Plus, you go against powerful people, ministers, prime ministers, you know. You have to have balls to do that, right?
And the passport sellers, the passport peddlers as well.
the passport sellers, believe me, they are right now, they're going to be, everybody's going to be running. Because let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Right? The United States is back. And they are very cautious about their national security. So you guys can, I mean, you guys, nobody's saying you cannot have a passport program, right? But just don't come to the US with it if you don't do things properly. That's all.
Some persons on the live feed, I'm getting some sentiments here that some of them, they are sort of pessimistic about the information being dispensed by you. Basically suggesting that so long this talk, quote unquote, have been in the air about, you know, these programs being regulated and stuff, you know, it is just more talk and more talk. How would you respond to some of these people?
I think that they should look at another program. I'm not here to tell you how much money I found and given to the US authority of Caribbean official. I'm not here to breach confidential information, right? And the very fact that the United States government just put your country in the list of people that could be banned should open your eyes, right? But like I said, more to come very, very soon. I think that the congressional hearing, which is being worked out right now, is going to reveal it all. And then the people will have the information that they want to have because they'll be able to see, you know, I believe that congressional hearings are live on TV in America.
All right. Someone is basically suggesting that I should ask you harder questions, but I guess that person is tuning in late. And
to ask me other questions?
Ask you harder, tougher questions, as it were, to some more details. I pressed, or we pressed you earlier on for some more details, but we said, and we must respect your wish as our guest here that you don't want to divulge the information.
It's not the question of which. I cannot breach information that could jeopardize. Look, I could end the career of a lot of people by putting bank statement and video confession and on the line. What's the point? What's the point? What's the point to that? So that it makes the buzz in Caribbean newspaper for 2-3 days?
And then that's it. And then that's it. Okay, see your point.
Frozen their money. Frozen their money in Dubai.
Do you see yourself? Do you plan on giving up on the whole exercise?
Me, I can't. It's out of my hand, Alvin. It's now handled by the US government. You cannot stop that machine on a criminal level, right? And now it's also in the hands for the establishment of a congressional hearing by congressmen that are really not happy about what we found out.
So could you give us an idea of when will these hearings start at Congress level?
What?
Just an idea when these hearings will start at Congress level.
I think that based on what I've been told, that, you know, September seems a likely date. So we're not talking about.
So at least before the. At least before the end of the year.
But again, you know, this I don't control that.
I understand. But
we had several meetings with the people that are doing that. You know, there are other companies that are not in the CBI that have been affected by Chinese unfair competition and national security issue created by China. So there's, you know, they have 2 cases that, you know, that they have, but the process is already, you know.
Yeah. Alvin, any further comments? Mr. Martinez, thank you so much. Thank you very much. So far, so good. Alvin, I find you a bit cold
But
tonight. Eh?
you do understand. You do understand. You do understand that I cannot be specific only because I cannot jeopardize.
I'll tell you, Lofty.
That we understand and that we appreciate.
I'll tell you, Lofty. We have gotten to a very sad state, which no Dominican should be happy about, whether you're in or out of Dominica, where there is the potential for our nationals to be banned entry into the United States. I mean, the United States of America have been home to many, many Caribbean nationals, including Dominicans. And I think, as Mr. Martinez mentioned, alluded to earlier, a Dominican will pick up and go to America as against going to China or anywhere else for a better life. Children go to come here to study, and therefore, if we get to the point whereby Dominicans now have some serious restrictions to come into the United States, it's not something to be happy about. It's a very sad, sad state. So it really pains my heart as a Dominican who currently resides in the US to see that some of my nationals are not able to come in here. I mean, this month is graduation in Dominica. Hundreds of students will be graduating from high school. Many of them would like to come over here and study, would like to apply for their student visa and come and study. And it appears, if that is the case, they're going to have some serious problems to get their visa, even though it is just a student visa. So it's kind of sad, and maybe that's the expression you're seeing on my face, where we are right now.
But Alvin, I have a question for you. Right?
Sure.
Roosevelt is not a stupid guy, right? He's a smart guy, right? Now, why do you think he has let things like other Caribbean leaders get to the stage? I mean, you basically...
Well, my easy answer to you, Mr. Martinez, is that, like you say, where you have a combination of power and money,
lots of it,
a lot of things happens. So you have people who have unfettered power and they have unfettered money. Obviously, corruption comes into play. So that is what you see happening throughout the region.
I need to correct you. Corruption behind imagination.
Well, that's a way of qualifying it. But I mean, you heard what you call the Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Ralph Gonsalves.
Yes.
Ralph Gonsalves said he never went into the program because he did not see sustainability. It wasn't the right thing to do.
Yeah.
The question that a number of us always ask ourselves, if St. Vincent and the Grenadines economy could survive without a CBI program,
to save it,
that another country like Dominica or Antigua could not have survived as well?
To save it at this stage, right? Knowing the information that we've discovered in the last 3 months, all that is very recent, okay? They would have to really change drastically their way of thinking. But look, it's confusing, Alvin, because they're talking to the US Treasury, and the US Treasury they don't understand how it works. You see what happened with Trump, right? He said, oh, I'm gonna think for the next 2 weeks if I want to attack the nuclear site in Iran, right? So everybody was like, oh my God, 2 weeks, he's gonna think, is he gonna do it? Boom, he did it 2 days later without warning. And that's what happened with that travel ban proposal. They didn't expect that, right? And
well, no, you're right. I understand that, but you see my point.
I don't think that they're capable because of the influence of the advisor that they have, and also, let's face it, some of them are scared, right? And I'm not naming name, but some of them are scared because they know that we have their bank account.
Well,
right?
when you see Mr. Martinez, all of that, I'm not even at this point now too concerned about that. I'm more concerned of where my island Dominica will come out of this.
I have
my island Dominica will come out of this. What is the solution?
I have a solution.
That is my concern, really, as against the evidence is already there. The congressional hearing will be held. All of that is going to take place. Yeah. But how does our nationals in Dominica now, moving forward, and not suffered and jeopardized as a result of that?
I want to use my word properly, because the solution means that it's a guarantee, right? But I would suggest a very strong roadmap of decision for these 4 countries to make. But I cannot discuss that on a public podcast, because otherwise I would be putting some people in a major embarrassment. But,
would you suggest, as part of Alvin's question, would you agree or suggest as well that the people now, the citizens, in terms of their confidence in some of these leaders, that they need to rethink when they go to the polls, at least to get some kind of fresh start, some fresh mandate, so that a special appeal or new approach can be made to the EU, the French, the United States, etc.?
In my opinion, right, knowing what we've discovered, which is in possession of the US government, these people in charge of this program have to make drastic change. I would be happy to suggest to them, but I don't think that they want to hear us, because their advisor will always prevent them to do that. So, in my opinion, they will not. Look, it's not that complicated, Roosevelt Scarrett can pick up the phone. He has my number. He can call me and say, Philippe, what do you suggest we do? Because I want to save my... No. They think that they're going to have lobbyists and lawyers, and they're going to have diplomatic at the UN.
Mr. Martinez,
They don't understand that you don't mess with President Trump and Marco Rubio.
Someone on the live feed, Brother Martinez, is making a suggestion, and would you subscribe to it?
Yeah.
John Leone is saying, suggesting, Mr. Martinez, Trump should take away the politician visas from them before that of the citizens and that of St. Lucia, Dominica, and the countries listed.
Look,
what would you suggest?
Personally, if I would have been involved in the proposed travel ban, I would have banned every politician that's involved. Number 1, okay? And number 2, I would ban every economic citizens, right? Because that's the issue. The issue is the Chinese, and it's not the Chinese because they're Chinese. It's when you sell 70,000 passports, right? Where do you think those people are going with your Dominican passport? They go to America. They go to, and some of them stay there. So I would, but then it's difficult, that one, easy. So the United States is taking the hard line to say nobody's coming in.
Well, I agree with you on that last point you just made. Because the ban should have started with those who created the problem, which are the politicians.
The politicians.
Those who have a citizen a citizen by investment passport because they know who they are. And I think you are right. You made the point earlier. The world is becoming very complex now. And when you have
especially today,
Russian with a Dominican passport, there's no guarantee. You have no control over what this person can do or not do as a citizen of Dominica.
Yeah.
And I think what is even more disturbing, and I've made that point on previous program, the passport that we hold, our Dominican passport, is considered a passport of CARICOM, meaning that a citizen of Dominica who owns a Dominica passport has access in and out any one of the Caribbean islands to live and to work. So the front of the passport, it tells you, I believe if I'm mistaken, after you could look at yours, citizen of the Commonwealth, the Caribbean Commonwealth or something to that effect.
Yeah, it's a CARICOM document, yes.
Right. So that is why I guess I understand where Shasta is going from St. Lucia, saying that the program should have been structured like that. Because if you ask me, between Antigua, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Dominica, over the period that this passport CBI program has been in place, they have raised, I would say, anywhere close to 20, maybe even $30 billion out of that program.
You're talking about EC?
No, US.
Yeah.
They have raised quite a bit of money. Dominica alone,
it's about
6 billion.
Yeah, it's between 15 to 20.
So if Dominica alone has raised 6 billion out of theirs, and then you put in Antigua in there, St. Lucia in there, St. Kitts in there,
Alvin,
I would
the
say
problem
20 billion.
The problem is that, and that's what the European and the US didn't understood, okay? Because look, right now, the corruption, I mean, to be honest with you, every country has corruption, and, unfortunately, some people don't care about the corruption of the Caribbean either. I made it a point to get their bank account, to prove it, and to expose them in Congress, right? And to the US government. But the real issue is that if you don't have a system where 100% of the money go into a centralized program and the money 100% goes into the Caribbean, then you don't control where the 75% are, right?
Well, that is true, yeah.
And that's what Ralph Gonzalez has explained, and what Chastenay is advocating for, right? So, look, I think that things are going to get really, really, really bad, right? And a lot of people are going to be exposed, people that I've never mentioned, bankers, lawyers. I don't think they can save the situation because none of them, it's the arrogance, Alvin.
Yeah, no.
It's the arrogance.
I take that point, but you see, while they're being exposed, Mr. Martinez, our people are being hurt.
Yeah.
That's my problem. Our people are being hurt.
And do you think they care?
How do we not get our people hurt? That's my problem. I
Well,
don't know about the crooks and the bandits.
Look,
but how do
I heard the Prime Minister of St. Lucia and the Prime Minister of St. Kitts saying we have not heard from the United States. We have not received any communication from the US, right? Well, listen, if I was the Prime Minister, I'll be on a plane as soon as I saw the Tammy from the State Department. I would go to the United States right now and ask an emergency meeting with Rubio and say what happened, right? But, there are some people, and I'm not talking about the Prime Minister of St. Kitts, but, if St. Lucia wants to send Mr. Hilaire, the Deputy Prime Minister, to DC,
So let me just ask you.
We'll be happy to show him some accounts.
Let me ask you one final question. Your company, MSR Media, I take it they're no longer doing any business in the Caribbean.
No, we own a hotel in St. Kitts, right?
So you still own a hotel?
Yeah,
there?
yeah, but we're shut down.
Okay.
Until this whole thing is over. I want to see their money seized. Okay. I want to see some people arrested, and I want them to be exposed for what they've done to us and to you, right? Okay. But like you said, but Alvin, I've said that a year ago. Ultimately, it's the people that will pay the price, because if you lose your visa to go to the United States, if you lose, believe me, the bank is coming. The issue of the corresponding bank is coming big time, right? I just give warning. But those guys, their arrogance, the power, the comfort, and the millions that they have, they don't care.
They don't care. Mr. Martinez, thank you very much. What are we to wrap up here tonight? Your final thoughts, brother, in terms of just putting everything in a ballpark for us, your main points.
Oh, for me?
Yes, yes. I was just telling you.
Your closing comments.
Your closing comments.
The 3 countries in the Caribbean have been advised by Dev Bass of CS Global Partners for the past decade, and this is where you are right now. Mr. Bass is not more powerful than the United States government when it comes to national security. And if Mr. Bass wants to come to DC to meet us, we'll be happy to meet him. You have to make a decision. Do you want to become clean and save this precipice for your people? Or there is something that we don't know that you have worked out with another country? Because after all, how many passports have each of those countries sold to Chinese citizens? So if there is an agenda that some people have, that they're like, hey, you know what, we don't care about the United States, we're going to just stay with China, then it's sovereign right as a nation. But, you know, come clean. Come clean. We can. We're happy to suggest you a roadmap to try to save the situation, but it's not going to happen.
I can hear the politicians saying, a final question from me to you. I can hear the politicians in response saying, Mr. Martinez, his team and other people of like mind out there would want to close the programs and have the citizens suffer as a result. Your response, sir, finally.
One, I don't want the program to be closed. I would like us to come back and be part of the program under a clean program. But we're not going to be part of a program that's run by the Chinese interests. End of story.
End of story. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very, very much indeed. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, let's do this one from our brother King Dice. He sang that one in 2024, entitled Bring the Money Home. Let's bring back the money. Let's take it from the very, very top. King Dice, as we bring this program to a close tonight. Yes, we were talking about the CBI money. King Dice is saying, bring home all of the monies.
Greetings, Mr. Abdullah. Salam alaikum. I'm singing to make you aware. Things apply that rule.
I can go, right?
Yes, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They cannot hear us, right?
No, not right now. You can leave. Yes.
Yeah. You guys are happy with the program?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Listen.
Okay, have a good week.
You too. Bye.
In our Dominica, all our wealth offshore, and our people so far, we facing a crisis here. So I bypassing leader, we suspect you don't like him anymore. Money, Mr. Abdullah, bring money. Everybody broke down here, bring money. Not to our free, bring money. From our treasury overseas, bring money. I never see come see, waste all the country money, buying election and building mansion. Now we going after credit union. You see, we want to save our people money.
That's the man, King Dice. He copped the crown with this one. Alvin, brother, your final comments as we must go in just a bit.
Well, Lofty, again, a very interesting and engaging conversation, I must say, as it relates to the CBI. I think the question that you asked at the close is very important, because when we have those kind of discussions, the politicians, the government believe that we are anti the program. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. Bear in mind, as some people may be aware, that program started many years ago under the Freedom Party government. It is completely different from how it originally started. It came about under the Freedom Party, then the UWP took it over, re-engineered it, and now we are in a situation where the program has just become and really gotten out of the way and not being managed in the manner in which it should be managed. So it's not the question of we being against the program, but clearly when you have a program as is, where you have 250,000 persons have Caribbean passport, I mean, that's 250,000 people. That's a lot of people. In Dominica's case, as it is said, there's some 40,000 persons who have Dominican passport. Now, like the saying goes, one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. You have an Iranian who has his passport end up in some trouble. And we've seen it in Dominica's case. Several persons who issued Dominican's passport found themselves in some very terrible situations holding a Dominican passport. So clearly, I can understand the Americans' concern as it relates to their own security. But my bigger question really is our people who now are going to face the brunt of that US ban, not being able to travel to the US as freely as they would like to, or getting a visa, or moving here to migrate, to study. That is the bigger problem. And how do we change that now? Someone on the feed says by voting a new administration. That was one of the questions there. And as I've said before as well, elections have consequences. So if you put the wrong people in charge, they will do the wrong thing and they won't have the vision for the country that is needed. They won't give the kind of leadership that's needed. And they will be easily corrupt and manipulated. And I think, unfortunately, that's where we are as a region, as a country. And it is my hope that the people, I underscore, the people will realize where they are and take the necessary action that need to be taken to bring about the change. That's the only option that I can see. I don't see anything else. I don't think they're going to change the way they've been doing things as it relates to the program. Gonzalez said it quite clearly. He saw that years ago. And that's one of the reasons he never went down that rabbit hole. So I think it's now left to the people of Dominica, of Antigua, of St. Lucia, and St. Kitts to say, hey, we're going to jeopardize our life and our livelihood while you guys sit here and corrupt the program. That would be my final comment and my closing comment as it relates to the program.
Thank you.
So wish
Thank
everyone
you.
a safe and a really good, productive week, and look forward to having another engaging program next week.
Thank you. All right, folks, that is it. Yes, that is it for yet another very informative program right here on Civic Vibes. Started from 6 and at 8 o'clock. Marlene Schillingford says, excellent. We needed an update on the CBI passport fraud. Lieutenant Myler says, thank you, Alvin. Thank you, Lofty.
Greetings, Mr. Abdullah. Salam alaikum.
Pretty Joseph says, good program. Thank you very much.
I'm singing to make you aware. Things are bad at home. The local treasury down here, it's empty.
Lieutenant Myler says, some eyes were indeed opened by this program tonight.
Over 6 billion and counting.
Brother Margel Durand, you're there as well. Good evening, sir. The brother Tyron Nicholas, good evening to you.
Sure, I know
very, very active tonight.
Here, so I
use some colorful words as well, but that's the man Tyron. Good evening to you, my brother. Mr. Cabral Douglas, I'll end with his comment here. He says, Dominicans have no fear. The long arms of justice are quickly closing in on Scarrett and his stooges, which hopefully will pave the way for an emergence of a fresh, accountable, and competent governance.
Waste only country money.
Mr. Cabral Douglas, good evening to you.
Now we going.
All of you.
You see, we want to save for people money.
Who contributed one way, shape, or form to tonight's program success. Good evening to you guys. Just a note, yours truly will not be here with you next week. Alvin Thomas will, huh? Again, I will not be in with you guys next week, Sunday. Alvin will be the man. So to our special invited guest tonight, that is Mr. Philip Martinez. Always a fresh of breath air when this man comes on.
Citizens balling for electoral reform.
So Mr. Martinez, you and your team, thank you very much for the work for and on behalf of the citizens of the Caribbean.
And if you work, you get your salary. Nobody for passport.
So that's it for us here.
Businessmen in the country.
Whatever is left of your night, do enjoy.
History, Arab and black slavery. There's an opportunity to win with diplomacy.
All of you celebrating birthdays today. Well, tonight, happy birth night to you, huh? Yes, you and you.
Everybody broke down here, bring money. $1 billion or 2 or 3, bring money. From our treasury overseas, bring money.
So from all of us at Civic Vibes, bye-bye. We love you. Are gone.
Fighting opposition and buying loyalty. We borrowing from social security. You see, we want to cool the pensioners' money. Die, 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 die. A warning, Mr. Abdullah. Salam alaikum. Your time is coming. We will come calling if you don't come home. Remember, you signed the contract publicly in the Windsor Park. If you mama guide the leader, he, not Dominica. They got a chance to be a high developed country instead of prosperity. we see more poverty. So your decision could make you a wanted man, or the greatest Muslim in mankind. Bring money, Mr. Abdullah, bring money. Everybody broke down here, bring money. You're not too free, bring money. From our treasury overseas, bring money. The man never see, come see, waste all the country money, sending all the money overseas. Now we going after NBT, back left in our country.